We're back.
We are back. It is Christmas Eve. And
yes, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, either one.
Happy Holidays. By the time you guys see this, it should be Christmas. I'm here with Sai. How you doing, Sai?
I'm great. Nowadays, I go by the name Parvision, so if you're looking for me on YouTube, just look at me through that handle.
You can find him on Parvision. I'm sure there's a Devil Fruit Theory that should be dropping really soon, so look out for that. But now we had to talk about One Piece chapter 1070. I would say one of the... We're still in setup mode for the most part in Egghead. Still in setup mode, but a pretty good chapter nonetheless. And so we're going to break it down like we usually do. I guess let's start with the cover story. So this video is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Surfshark, which is a virtual private network, is an award-winning VPN. You may think it's something you probably don't need or you don't understand what a VPN does or how it works. Well, I'll break it down for you. A VPN is your own private network that you can use to protect your information while streaming, shopping, or just casually browsing the internet. It's funny because incognito mode to some people is very secure, but fun fact, all it means is that your browser doesn't save cookies. Your ISP can still track your activity and collect your data. It also does not stop websites from seeing your location. Yeah, crazy, right? With Surfshark VPN, it blocks ads, trackers, malware, and even phishing attempts from users trying to steal your information. You can use Surfshark to protect yourself, and you can do all this with one account, because one account covers unlimited household devices. Surfshark now has service in 100+ countries, and Surfshark is the first premium commercial VPN to achieve this. This is a big deal. But in November and December, we're having a special Black Friday deal, which you're getting 85% off and 3 extra months free. And this is starting from the 1st of November and ending on the 31st of December. Yeah, I get it. Knowing you're exposed is terrifying, but use my link and protect yourself and sign up for Surfshark. How did you feel about it, and how weird is this group in regards to looks in comparison to the other groups in One Piece? Because I think they might be up there.
This is great. No, I think out of the entire year of 2022, this is the best cover page to end on. Like, it encapsulates so much. The build-up for it has been here for like the past, I think, like 5 or 6 years at this point, ever since the introduction to Caesar. Yeah. And now we finally have what he looks like back in the heyday. Dude, they're strapped up. Like, don't mess with the nerds at high school, man. They're going to mess you up.
I mean, when you think about
these guys are crazy.
Like, one of the nerds is a Yonko commander, right? One is a leader of a royal army. One we're assuming could be a CP0 agent. And then you fucking have Caesar, right? So
a broken devil fruit. Just poorly utilized.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's great because I think what Oda's doing is like the putting thing all over again, right? Where I'm going to incorporate what's happening in the cover story and kind of align it with what's going on in the actual story. I'm giving you guys a lot of content. It makes sense. And, you know, I don't have to feel like I have to fill in the actual story with all this like Mad's backstory. I can just slowly play it out while the actual Vegapunk story is going on. So I think this is fantastic.
It's perfect. I'm just wondering why they're so strapped up though. Like, they all have swords and weapons drawn.
I mean, they are outlaws technically at this point.
That
I'm
is
assuming,
true,
right? They're not.
And then you have like scientists in the background just chilling. Like, you see that?
I mean, so I guess they're the muscle, right? Because Queen goes on to join Kaido and be a Yonko commander. Caesar goes on to fuck everybody over. Judge goes on to create like an army and experiment on all his kids.
An army of kids.
Right? And Vegapunk goes on to do whatever the fuck he wants to do. So, you know, I really do like this cover story. Like you said, has been building for a while. I like they're saying promising scientists. They're gathering for the sake of the world and all mankind.
All mankind.
The only person
we got like 4 villains in here.
You can maybe argue Vegapunk like he wants to do it for mankind. These other fucks do not care about mankind, bro.
No, like maybe you could like twist Stussy or CP0 to like maybe they are fighting for mankind. They're just doing it the wrong way. But the other 3, like, come on,
hell no, it's not about mankind at all. That's crazy.
They're just having fun.
All right. I guess we can get to the chapter now, and the chapter is.
Oh no!
It begins with Sentomaru getting struck down by Rob Lucci, and Luffy's apologizing, saying, "My bad, man. I didn't mean to distract you."
I love that his eyes are popping out.
Right.
It kind of, you ever play like a game like Fortnite and like somebody kills you and then they start emoting on you? That's kind of what Luffy's eyes feel like. He's just like beaming on him. Like you're dying. The last thing you see is Luffy's eyes.
He's like, damn, like you got jacked up, bro.
Jeez.
Hey.
That was my fault. My bad, dude.
I was like, don't underestimate me. I saw his attack coming, moron. Okay, well, you saw it coming, but you couldn't do anything with it, right?
Yo, the world's toughest defense right here coming into play.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can say at this point it's self-proclaimed. This is him in his mind has the toughest defense, but
it's like Don Krieg, right? He's the strongest man in the world.
You know what I mean? Like, but you can't stop a Rob Lucci Shogun. Not saying it's weak or anything, but
that's like a base
listen,
attack.
I assure you, there are other stronger attacks out there, and if your great defense can't stop this one, I don't know if you're even top 5, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe there is some merit. Maybe we're just underestimating him. We're not giving him his due diligence, right? Like Kaido was the world's strongest creature. Sentomaru has the world's toughest defense. You know, stronger than Kaido's scales. I mean, Lucci can obviously pierce.
Okay,
it,
yeah, Rob Lucci can definitely pierce Kaido if it's piercing Sentomaru.
Everything.
Yeah, no, 100%. I like how Rob Lucci, after bypassing his defense, is like, "You're tough, but I kind of need you out of the picture." You know, it's kind of like it's almost like Oda's like throwing it in there, like, "Hey."
Don't forget, Sentomaru's strong man.
He got rolled, but he's tough, all right?
This is a feat.
He's tough.
This is a feat.
Right?
He's not beating Luffy, but let me tell you what he did at the world's toughest defense.
He's tough, all right? Really tough.
Yeah.
He's like, yo, you outrank us, and so we have to get you out of the way so we can control the Seraphim because they're actually really tough. Then at that point, Luffy comes back, and he's protecting Sentomaru, and Gear 5 is going crazy again, right? Just doing whatever the hell Gear 5 wants to do.
Old school cartoon.
Old school cartoon. Can't slow down, right? Spinning too fast. Man, I can't slow down. And now we have a Seraphim showcase. Before we move on to that, let's talk about Gear 5. What are your thoughts of Gear 5 in this chapter and how Luffy's just doing whatever the hell he wants?
I enjoy it. I like the new naming of his attacks. I feel like Oda just came up with it for some reason because we didn't see any of this back when he fought Kaido. Yeah. But he's using what? I guess TCB translated it as Booming White, but you can also translate it as Dawn.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It's like a Gear 5th exclusive attack, which I really enjoy. I still think it's funny that he calls it Gomu Gomu no. So I wonder if he'll ever change that thematic, but I feel like it's too iconic at this point.
Yeah, you can't get rid of Gum Gum.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I feel like Gear 5 is the ultimate freedom moveset, and Luffy can do whatever he wants in it. He can go crazy. It's just you have to be prepared for the Goofy, right? You have to be prepared for Luffy to just completely change the tone sometimes with how he's fighting.
I kind of feel bad for his opponents, like Kaido, Lucci, like anyone who comes after this, who fights this. Like you're essentially being beaten up by like a 10-year-old kid just laughing at you.
Right, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Roddy.
I mean, I feel like this kind of makes me feel like there might be a form afterwards or like an upgrade to Gear 5th where he's like a little bit less goofy, like more tamed in.
Maybe. I mean, I'm hoping so, but I don't know because Oda says he has so much fun just drawing Gear 5 and he likes just the freedom that Gear 5 has. So I don't know. It's a vibe, okay? It's a completely different vibe.
It's interesting.
And
it's nice.
I've seen people complain about it, to be honest, saying that, hey, I don't know, I got to get used to it. It completely takes me out of the story sometimes. And for me, it's kind of like, okay, it's Gear 5. I understand that Luffy's going to joke around. He's going to play around. His eyes are going to pop out. You know, sometimes he's going to create like sunglasses out of nowhere. It's going to be wild, but it and this goes back to Luffy versus Kaido, where some people were complaining about it, where the tone shift was enormous. But Kaido kind of brought it back. I think just for the most part, the tone of the fight is going to be relied upon on the villains for the most part.
Yeah.
Because unless it's like you said, an upgraded form where Luffy gets super serious, this is what it's going to be. And you kind of got to get to the point where you accept it, or, you know, it just is what it is.
And also, like, you know, like you said, it bases itself off the opponent. Like, during Kaido's fight, near the end, he wasn't really laughing anymore, right? Like, when he was using the Bajran gun. And even during the fight against Lucci, he's laughing like 99%. But during the clash, he looked kind of serious in that panel. Like he was kind of smiling, but he wasn't laughing anymore.
Yeah.
He was putting his back into it.
Yeah. Put it back into it. It's hilarious. Yeah, that's the thing where it's like Gear 5, and we know for Zone Awakenings, they can take over your body, take over your mind at least. And so you can assume that's what's happening early on in the fight when Luffy tries to literally eat Rob Lucci. And then he uses rocks as projectiles, right? Then he freaking goes straight up, Rocket Man, and then puts on his goggles and just booms Rob Lucci. I mean,
it's so crazy. Yeah. Like I feel like in this form, we might not even see like a repetition of abilities. Like I feel like every attack he uses is going to be brand new.
Yeah. Because it's going to depend on his environment and who he's fighting against, right? And Rob Lucci, he's like about to pass out. Can you imagine? You're about to pass out. Like, I can't.
Dude, no, not the callback. Don't remind me. It's too soon.
Luffy's like, right? Like, it's just, it's so disrespectful in the grand scheme of things. Just how he's beating people and
dude.
just laughing at him, And Rob Lucci, I'm sure he's pretty proud of his strength and how strong he's gotten, right? Like, he's one of the few awakened Zoans.
Dude, yeah.
He got an awakened Zone box. Like,
he trained 2 years for this fight, bro. He wanted revenge, then he has Luffy laughing at him.
He's just laughing at him. And he's like, no Conqueror's Hockey, right? No Future Sight. Just laughing at him from using booming white whip. It's sad, man. I feel for Rob Lucci a little bit.
I feel for him. Like at this point, he's kind of like the MC. We got to rip for Rob Lucci.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully he has a Rayleigh flashback or something, and we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, like he has like the whole scabbards with him by the end of the chapter too, right? Like he has it.
He needs that.
He has the backup,
like something like an Odin backstory or something for him, because I don't know, man. It's not looking good. It is not looking good. In the midst of Gear 5 versus Rob Lucci, because it almost seems like background noise how Oda's been doing it. Like, hey, this is going on, but this other thing, the other stuff that we're talking about.
Here's some lore,
right? The Seraphim are going crazy again. I guess we can talk quickly about the potential of the Seraphim, of course, with Jinbei, S-Shark having the swim fruit, and Oda is still teasing us with S-Hawk and what his devil fruit is.
Yeah, not showing us what he can do yet.
And it's obvious that he has a devil fruit. He has green blood, and this chapter reveals to us just how important green blood is to these people, and why it makes sense to just give him a devil fruit. Like, if he just had green blood with no devil fruit, like, what are we doing?
Like why?
It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, why would he be the special one out of the group? And also, like, if you look at the panel where he's swinging that sword, on his right, like, forearm, you can kind of see where the green blood would start too.
Yeah, no, he
like, you see like a weird line
in his arm. He has one for sure. So he's, like, you give him a devil fruit just because that makes a lot of sense. What do you think is the potential of these Seraphim at this point? Because Vegapunk calling them the strongest beings to ever exist might be on point, but do you think they have the potential to surpass, like, even the Yonko with how they're progressing?
I think they do have the potential to surpass the Yonko, which might be a super hot take, but just given their blood, given the devil fruits, given like that they're artificial humans that were bred to fight, and I don't know, like, just everything about them just seems perfect for a strong character. Yeah. The only thing they're missing is the experience and the age.
Yeah.
Like, they're still kids. Like, right now, like, obviously they can't take on, like, a full-on Yonko like Kaido one-on-one and win. But I don't know, man. Like, age up the Mihawk Seraphim, like, 30 years, give him all that experience and fighting prowess and data. I mean, he could put up a really serious fight, if not win. I mean, any of these Seraphim, really. We don't know their cap. And plus, with the green blood, it's so versatile. Like, technically, like, this might be just some headcanon theory crafting, but technically, I think they could even, like, swap out their devil fruits, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Like, just a blood transfusion.
Yeah. Like, you give them some new blood, then technically you should be able to give them new devil fruit powers. Or also, what if the canisters, they have different access to different blood canisters, right? Like, if you can swap it out and use a different fruit for a different, like, situation or whatever, that would be insane. So, the other thing that they could possibly be missing that could hinder them, but I'm not sure, is hockey, right? Where they can't use hockey from what we can tell. But at this point, with how strong they are, I'm not even sure if hockey is necessary, right? Like,
I see. The thing is, I didn't think they would be able to use hockey at first because I thought they were like a Seraphim or not like Seraphim, a Pacifista. Yeah, but now that we learn that they have blood, that they can talk, they have
They have
emotions,
personalities.
it's like maybe they can use hockey.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
listen, if these things
Like,
start
it's on the
using hockey,
table.
it's over, bro.
Yeah, like at this early of an age, like what, like they're like 10 years old essentially. Yeah, no,
That'd be
that's
nuts,
crazy.
right? And then even now, like they look like they're around 10 or whatever, but even though they're the same size of the warlords. The next time you see them, which I would assume like is the final war, they're gonna be aged up. They're gonna be full grown adults.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have Bonnie here on this island who could technically just age him up right now.
Right, technically. And I'm assuming they probably harvested Bonnie's power as well, because remember, like, they captured her, then they said they basically already used and got what they want from her. So
yeah, I mean, they capture her like what, every other weekend,
yeah,
right?
she's just like a capture that you bring to your boss. It's like, hey, I got Bonnie this
It's
week.
like it's like Princess Peach.
It's just like, yeah.
Like she's just captured by Bowser like every other
Right,
day.
and she just falls for candy every single time. Like and the crazy part is like he catches her with dinosaur candy, right? Like it's just like he's like telling her what's gonna happen. Like, hey, here's this dinosaur candy. There's nothing that could possibly go wrong. And then every time she's like, ooh, he tricked me. I didn't
A piece of candy.
like, how could he do this? I had no idea that it was Bowser. No idea. It's just
Bonnie does not have future sight confirmed.
like this is getting ridiculous. But yeah, the Seraphim, they're showcasing, they're going crazy, and Kaku and Stussy, they're saying that they are unstoppable, and they're saying that basically they'd lose if they found a way to destroy them. Basically, saying that, hey, if we destroy these people, they're assets to the world government. It's a lose-lose situation, right?
Yeah, we're missing
So
out.
we definitely need to be able to control them because their potential is crazy. Even though they're just kids, we have to get control of them. Now, Frankie asked Vegapunk the question that we all were thinking, like, all right, is Senor Pink dead or not? Okay, like you're just gonna take his powers, and we know from One Piece the rule is only one person can have a power at a time, right? And I feel like Oda's just been going back on a lot of rules in regards to devil fruits just because, hey, it's Vegapunk, he can do a little bit more than the average person, and Vegapunk confirmed that no, Senor Pink is fine, right? We just have a different way to use powers, devil fruit powers. He confirms that Zoan fruits are the only fruits that you can basically manufacture, so those are the fruits that he can recreate, like Kaido's,
Easily.
like he did for Momonosuke. He talks about the smile fruits and saying that's trash. I would never do that. And then he talks about Logia fruits, which, I mean, they're the most powerful fruits, right? Because he's saying, I did the best I could.
We had to nerf them.
Yeah, I did the best I could. There's not much that we can do, which is basically saying all I could do is pull the lasers from that. And that's the lasers that Kizaru uses, or Kizaru's lasers that the Pacifista use. And then he talks about the Paramecia devil fruits, which are the most popular devil fruits. Makes sense that he can use those the most. And basically, if he can synthesize the blood from a Paramecia user's lineage factor, if it's transfused, the person can then use Paramecia powers. And so with the Seraphim,
absolutely busted.
It is nuts because you can keep the people alive and still use their powers. So we have Boy Hancock using Hancock's fruit. You have Kuma using the Paw fruit. And I mean, obviously with S-Shark using Senor Pink's devil fruit.
Using it better, I would argue.
I think it's I think it's genius. Because it is literally the perfect devil fruit for a fishman, right? Like he can create moisture.
Straight up fishman karate
and
right
fishman
here.
Karate using the moisture that he has. And so, and even after doing that, I'm assuming once he lets it go, it turns back to a solid. So he can manipulate this thing, then turn it into a solid and basically throw a building at you. So it is next level, bro. It is ridiculous.
Or along on crack, essentially.
Pretty much. I know a lot of people have been wanting or hoping for Jinbei versus S-Shark, but I don't want that to happen because I fear that Jinbei could get his ass whooped, bro.
you don't want Jinbei to catch an L right after joining the crew.
Come on, like not
That'd
this
be kind of
early,
sad.
right? Not this early.
Yeah, just like the next arc, like, oh, here goes Jinbei. He lost against the kid.
We need Jinbei to kind of like get some W's first, right? We got one with who's who and stuff, but we need Jinbei to be all right. So I don't think
because like
so.
Jinbei can't like he can't use the floor to swim through. Like only the S shark can.
No, he can't. So
like that's a major disadvantage.
It puts him at a disadvantage unless you feel like Jinbei could win because of his experience. Because of Seraphim, they're trying to still learn, so that is a factor. However, I think it'd be a cool matchup between the two. A cool ditto.
Oh wait, but the Seraphims, they also have fire because they're Lunarians.
Right.
So technically he could just roast Jinbei, like fish is on the menu, right?
He technically could make a good fish sandwich, right? With some tartar sauce
like
and all
fish
that.
and chips.
He could make that happen for sure. That's why I feel like Oda's going to be protecting Jinbei, just because this thing is just insane, right? And we can't have that happen just yet. Not just yet. Did you see the weird stuff people were talking about? I mean, it is weird, but
are you talking about the boa Seraphim?
Stuff, yeah, the boa Seraphim.
Yeah, the boa stuff. I turn a blind eye to it. In my mind, my headcanon is, you know what? It turns people to stone. We move on, right? Like we don't ask questions. It's good for fighting. You don't ask about the first part. You don't ask about the requirements.
You don't ask about like, hey, why is it working against these people?
Yeah, why do they got hard eyes, bro? Like,
why they hard eyes?
One dude is straight up holding his face together.
Yeah,
yeah. One guy's like crouching down, turning away, like holding his hat.
I went back and researched this attack. Apparently, this attack is if you have any lust or anything towards Boa Hancock, it works.
Yeah.
Again, this is Kid Hancock.
Japan's a little bit different. All I gotta say,
it's a little bit different.
It's a different culture. Maybe this is I don't want to say acceptable. I feel like that's the wrong way to put it. But the Mero Mero no Mi. Okay, here's a better way to put it. The Mero Mero no Mi is actually a phrase in Japanese. It doesn't directly translate to love.
Right.
It translates to I think it's drunk over emotions. So you could say that maybe they're just running high on happiness fumes, like. Maybe there's an emotion here that turns them to stone.
They just think she's adorable, bro.
Yeah, she's adorable, right?
And so that's why
it's like a Barbie doll or something.
And so that's the attraction, or the lust that's there, because it's basically based off of lust, and we're gonna assume that it's based off of her being just super adorable and cute, as opposed to that other stuff.
Anything bad.
Because I was surprised at how many people, because when I was reading the chapter, I was like, oh, this is interesting.
I mean, honestly, I didn't even put it together. Like, I was just like, in my head, I was like, oh yeah, it makes sense. She has the love fruit. And then I went to the comments and I was like, ooh, she has the love fruit.
Yeah, and like having these weirdos like have hard eyes and stuff. I was like, okay, this could be a little interesting. Then I saw on Twitter, like it was blowing up everywhere. People were like, I don't know what's going on. Oda, what were you cooking? And just like,
yeah. He had a little bit too much sugar in there or something.
Just a little bit. It's starting, like I said, to make more sense why the world government felt like it was okay to get rid of Mihawk and Hancock and Dofi. He's already gone, but get rid of that system crazy. Because they're like, well, we technically have you guys without the issues that you guys present.
Yeah, we have you guys, but the ones that obey our orders.
And actually show up and do things when we ask you to, right?
Yeah. Well, Mihawk was like, "Oh, I'm not here to fight Shanks."
He's like, "What the fuck?
I'm going home."
Right? Like
and then you have Boa Hancock attacking Marines like every other panel
against them. The only warlord, bro, that was actually trying to do something, and they tried to get rid of him after the war, was Moria. Moria was going all in, man.
Oh, dude, he was loyal.
My man was
loyal.
And then they after the war, they're like, you know what? No, you do your job too well.
Didn't he even show up to like the warlord meetings too?
Yeah.
Like Moria, he went to class.
He was trying to do his thing. He was like, man, this is a sweet deal. Like, this is a sweet deal. Like,
dude, they kicked him to the curb, and we never got the reason why either.
No.
Like that was like 500 chapters ago.
I think it's because he's too weak.
We still have no clue.
I think it's
too weak.
They're like, nah. There's like, you were trying it and you still didn't do anything, man. Like, at least
they were like, yo, we got your replacement.
Yeah, Dopey's out there having fun, just having a good time, and like he's still stronger than you. So I don't think we need your services anymore, man. Just like
they got rid of Moria. They put in Buggy, bro.
Yeah, they got. Imagine getting rid of Moria and bringing Buggy in. Like, yeah, you know what? Let's
this guy's qualified.
Let's bring that clown guy in here. I think he can definitely.
Have you heard of Buggy Moria? No, like when Doflamingo put his finger up and he said, like it was an order from higher up.
Buggy.
Like it was actually just Buggy.
It's actually from Buggy. That's who gave the order. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, Doflamingo's future boss in Cross Guild.
Yeah, come on. Like it's inevitable.
Yeah.
He's gonna get out and then he's gonna go and be a part of Cross Guild and get freaking orders from Buggy.
Yeah, day one.
The Straw Hats, they're starting to realize just how dangerous the Seraphim are. Sanji and those guys, they did fight against S-Shark. And they didn't put a scratch on him, so they know exactly how strong S-Shark is. But for the most part, it again, this chapter is a bit of a setup. It's Oda just telling us what's going to happen, because at the end of the chapter, we basically got Kizaru saying, yeah, it's not going to be as easy as they think it is.
Yeah. And he's bringing some warships as well.
Ooh, warships.
Ooh, yo, is this a Buster call? Whoa.
Warships.
Is this the attack that destroyed Ohara?
Yeah, oh my God, warships.
Oh
what are we gonna do?
Yo, who would win, Luffy or 10 warships?
Like, okay, I understand what Oda's trying to do here and trying to drum up like some tension.
Yeah.
Like, hey, they're bringing the warships and Kizaru. Yeah, just bring Kizaru or just bring a few of the vice admirals.
Honestly, like, yeah, it just has to be him. Like, maybe like a vice admiral, like you said. Like, we don't need the warships, bro. Like, get them out of here.
The warships are for Frankie and Brooke and Nami. Like it.
Oh yeah, the fodder, right?
It's for fodder. It's like
the fodder.
It's
fights.
almost just a posse, right? It's just like, yo, like just bring them here so we can celebrate together. Like they're not going to contribute much in regards to fighting, but we got to bring the warships, all right? We need these warships.
And the thing with the Buster Call is that CP0 is trying to protect the assets of the island. So would they really Buster Call it? Like I don't even know if a threat of cannon fire is even a realistic expectation from this.
Unless Kizaru says, yeah,
it's worth it.
We don't care.
Like, hey, like we don't care. Let's just rather everybody die than the Straw Hats leave with Vegapunk.
Yeah, like rather that.
I can see that.
That's what we want.
Yeah, it's like the worst case.
Yeah, that's the worst case. I think at this point, again, it is set up. Vegapunk is a bit interesting considering that he's just like, yeah, I was gonna stay in the world with the world government. I wasn't gonna turn on them, but I mean, an Emperor's crew just showing up, it gotta be fate, right?
Come on.
Right? Like, I gotta go with them, right? That's what the
1+1, bro.
Gotta be plot, you know? It's funny that he's answering like Frankie about Senor Pink and all this shit, but Bonnie's still like, yo, what happened to my dad, bro? Why'd you do that?
He's leading her on, dude. He has the riz. He knows what's up.
He's not
dude, you know what?
At all.
Something funny about this chapter that I just can't skip over. I got to ask your opinion on this. How do you feel about us leaving Sentomaru down there when Luffy could have just brought him up?
I think it's still fuck Sentomaru all day. I think that's what Luffy is on, like, bro.
Dude, the worst part is that, like, we could have grabbed him. Lucci wasn't even a threat anymore because he was knocked through a wall. And the best part is that while they're riding up the space shuttle, you can actually see an empty chair in the shuttle where Sentomaru should have just been sitting, bro. Like, it's an empty chair.
Maybe he comes with them, but, like, Luffy's pretty much just like, bro, you call me a moron. Like,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't.
He holds a grudge for Sabaody. He remembers.
No, he's just mad that Sentomaru lied. He's like, you said you had the strongest defense, but I can't have you here, man.
What if he actually still believes it? He's like, oh, Sentomaru is going to make quick work of the boys downstairs.
Right.
Lucci won't get through twice.
Sentomaru's beating up all the freaking fodder that he became a Marine with, and they were just as strong as Kobe when he first joined. And they're like, maybe his defense is the strongest. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, something's going on here. Yeah, and it's funny because, like, you could try to rationalize it and say, oh, maybe, you know, he had to stay down here so he could control the Seraphims. Yeah, control him for, like, maybe, like, one more second because he just passes out the next time we see him.
He just passed out.
Like nothing changes.
I if I'm, you know, obviously it's a plot, but say for plot, like if he passed out and robbed, don't you just shoot down one more time while he's passed out? Like,
yeah, it's over.
Just for
like,
good
you can't
measure,
even stop it.
You know, like just make sure because we can't have you come back and, you know, be giving the Seraphim orders and stuff. So
yeah,
just one more.
Speaking of Rob, though, So where, in your opinion, are the Rob Lucci stocks? Are they going up? Are they stagnant? Are they going down?
I think you gotta say they're kind of stable right now.
Yeah, they're stable.
I think they were very low. Like I bought the dip, right? I bought the dip because
you got to hold.
You
got to hold.
After that flashback and the backstory and the promotion, I was like, come on, like Oda's gonna do something with him. So he basically just gave him an awakening, gave him a box saying that he awakened. And he did his thing with them. So, the stocks they've risen since then, but I think we're at the point where it's just really just steady, considering, okay, we don't know where things are going to go, but I think the fact that he survived Gear 5 and he came out with basically just like the staple One Piece, just cheek Band-Aid.
Cheap.
Yeah, he just
Gear 5 is nothing on him, huh?
And I think he came out fine, right? At the end of the day, this is Luffy, a Yonko with Gear 5. He did the best that we were going to see him do. The only thing that people wanted was for him to land a hit on Luffy, but this is a Yonko.
Hey, there's always round 2.
Yeah, Yonko do get hit, right? And I think his Luffy.
Yeah.
If they fight again, Luffy will get hit, but. The domination that a lot of people expected as far as like a one shot, I was never on the side of that, considering just like.
I'm so glad it wasn't a one shot.
Yeah.
It's just honestly, I'm biased, right? I'm a Rob Lucci fanboy. It is what it is. But I just gotta say it right here. I'm gonna spew the agenda for like 1 second. But technically, Lucci came out on top.
Ooh.
He caught 2 bodies, which were his mission. He took out Centaur. He took out Atlas. What did Luffy get so far? Nothing. He won the fight, but Lucci won the war. So this chapter, you know what? He has a Band-Aid on his cheek. I'm gonna say this might be a slight W for him.
I think based on
he came out alive.
Based on expectations, it is a W. People are gonna say, well, he didn't do anything. This is not what you guys were saying. You guys are saying Rob Lucci's going to get absolutely clobbered and get one shot. And he doesn't stand a chance. Again, he doesn't stand a chance against Luffy, but I think based on what Luffy is and the training that Luffy has undergone and transformations and dying and whatever.
There was no winning that fight.
He was not going to win. Did not many people
Lucci was never gonna win.
This point in the story that's winning a fight against Luffy. Right?
It's really just how good can you do against Luffy? Like how many small W's can you pick up while you're fighting Luffy?
That's the main thing. Because Rob Lucci, I think he's at this point a bit more advanced than even Kaido, right? Because he had the awakening box. Kaido never had the awakening box. So
no, I'll agree with you there. Like Kaido, I still don't think he was awakened, especially when every other awakening in the series was explicitly told to us.
Yeah.
Like Kaido wasn't, and that's a good thing at the end of the day, because that means Kaido still has room to grow. He got that strong without ever needing to awaken. So who knows? Maybe next time we see him, he does. But Lucci got the one up on him right there.
Yeah, like Lucci might be the strongest Zoan user in the story at this point.
The strongest creature alive.
Because man, look what he just did to the strongest defense, right? And so, I think he has a claim at least, and Kaido, what did Kaido do, right? He beat like
they always talk about that old adage where it's like, oh, you have the world's strongest spear and the world's strongest shield. Who would win? Well, it turns out it's the world's strongest spear. Like Lucci pierced it, right?
Yeah, the spear.
Yeah, easy. I don't want to see what would happen if he fought Don Krieg. Geez.
It's great offense over great defense. Per usual, that's just a staple, and that's just what it is. And this One Piece has confirmed it for the rest of eternity. Okay. Overall, what would you rate the chapter though?
So we have to when rating this chapter, I kind of have to go at it a little bit harsher than usual because technically this is supposed to be the last chapter of the year. Because it's on break next week. We're still going to get a chapter, I believe, because of spoilers and all that stuff. But this is technically the chapter that Oda wanted to end off on. Like, this was his 2022 bang right here.
Yeah, this was a banger.
This is the banger. I think for the final page, the last couple of panels, I think it's amazing. Because it sets up a pretty big fight for 2023. Yeah. Or at least we go in on a high note. As far as the threat of the last page, though, I'm still not too sure, right? Like, Rob Lucci could box with Luffy for a little bit, didn't really do too well. But the Seraphims are here. We have Kaku and Stussy, who just didn't fight at all yet, which I think is a little bit sus. And then we also have the mystery factor of Kizaru. So I feel like based off of that, I'd rate the chapter like maybe like an 8 out of 10. It wasn't bad.
I'm really happy to see Kizaru again, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I mean, the Seraphims are a threat, but I don't even know if I would consider them too big of a threat. And that's really just because of how the hierarchy works, right? Like, if he were to say, hey, S-Bear, go assassinate Vegapunk, Vegapunk could say, hey, don't assassinate me, and that's it. Like, it would just be a back and forth. Like, it looks like a threatening panel with CP0, but when you really think about it, it's kind of not. I guess what they could do is chop off their ears or, like, put on earplugs, but I don't even know, man. Like it's One Piece, it gets goofy, that could be a possibility.
If someone Corazon's Devil Fruit, so he, like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, nobody can't
just mute the sound.
Can't hear anything. That could be an option.
You know, I just thought about this, too, but technically... Since S-Bear was with CP0, he could have just brought S-Bear with him to the Godosei, and they could just give him the ulterior, like, mission to just always assassinate Vegapunk.
Yeah.
And it could never be overruled.
That's the tough part, but like, again, the world government, I think they jumped the gun a little bit because they went and did things without having everything they need, right? It's like really weird. They didn't plan
it out too
well. It's really weird that, because I thought that they had a failsafe that no matter what, their guard was going to be in control because they were about to kill Vegapunk. No, they still technically need Vegapunk. And Vegapunk has, next to Gorosei, the highest authority. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, I don't think they lose the Seraphim because that wouldn't be great for the plot and for the story.
They all got to make it out.
Yeah, they got to make it out, and I think it makes more sense if the Seraphim, once we see them again, are older, stronger, a lot more vicious, and less personality, because that's what
hashtag free the Seraphims. I think they need their freedom by the end of the series.
Yeah, they might get freedom or they might get folded. Either one is going to be exciting.
Oh, God. I mean, it would be kind of interesting to have, like, a duplicate version of yourself running out there in the world.
Depends on what I'm doing, right? Like if I'm like a terrorist or something. Yo, what? That is not
like,
me.
Bo, you just blew up another building. I've been home. What are you talking about?
I've been playing Madden, bro. Like I'm not. That's not me. I promise you.
Yeah, no. I'm watching the World Cup. You see that Argentina game? It's crazy, man.
Like, that's what I did. I was watching it, right? But nah. Wait, do you watch football?
Oh yeah.
Who you rooting for?
I was rooting for Argentina, but that was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it probably was the best World Cup game ever.
Oh, definitely. Like that was
especially because of the final, right? It was like unbelievable. Like I said, I don't watch football like that anymore, but like it was like, what, man?
It was hyped up, bro. It was like Gear 5th versus Kaido.
Yeah. Bro, I thought the game was over. I thought it was over because of just how Argentina was dominating early, and it was 2-0.
Yeah.
And then I remember,
and then they came back in like a minute.
It's funny because like I was watching it, right, and some people were at my house at the time, and then they were kind of watching it on Telemundo, and then I switched it to like regular TV, and then at the same time they said, "Hey, 2-0 is the most dangerous lead in football." I was like, "What?" They're like, because if somebody scores a goal, then all the momentum is on their side, and then they're right back in the game that quickly. Then Mbappe, it was a penalty, I believe, right? It was a penalty at first.
Yeah.
And then that made it 2-1. Then all of a sudden, like, I think
he scored
right after.
Crazy.
I was like, oh, no way. It was just like, it was an amazing game. I'm really happy how that game turned out. Like, this is what you want from the World Cup final, right? Like,
Yeah, you don't want it to be a stop.
You don't want it to be, like, just trash. And, I think this is best case scenario, Mbappe versus Messi getting his first World Cup. This might be his last World Cup too. So it's just a storybook ending. Man.
We can even tie that back to One Piece, right? Like Lucci is technically he's Mbappe. he's losing right now, but let me tell you, he's gonna get some points. Even if he doesn't beat Luffy, yeah. I think he's gonna walk away from Egghead with the W. He's gonna get some Egghead tech. He's gonna maybe steal the Seraphims for his side for a little bit,
Oda brought Rob Lucci back for a reason, right? He's back for a reason, and he can't just get stopped. So. And
also, it's the difference in missions too. Like Rob Lucci, he wants to kill Vegapunk, which he probably won't be able to do because of Luffy. But as far as like seizing the assets of Egghead, I feel like they could probably get that done since Vegapunk's goal is to get off of Egghead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I think they're gonna get all the assets. They're gonna get the Seraphim, etc. But is it a net positive with Vegapunk leaving and going with the Straw Hats? You know, like
maybe not, right? Like it's a small W, but I'll take what I can.
Yeah.
I speak for the world government. I always got to root for them. It's like a home team at this point. Like I know they're gonna lose, right? Like I have a home team. They're just nationally in the bottom 50. And I'm going against like the MVPs of the season.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to lose, but I want to score one goal.
That's the thing where I tell people as like, if you're fans of the Marines or of the Admirals, you know they're going to lose. I just want them to make it interesting, you know? So it's just like, for me, it's not any delusion as far as what they can do and how they can compete. But I just want them to make it interesting for the Straw Hats or the protagonists at the time, just because, you know, nobody wants a boring story, you know, so.
Yeah, and I mean, Oda, I bet he feels the same way. Like, even if Oda is like, hey, these are the villains, you know, Luffy is definitely stronger, he still needs to keep the tension up. And that's why we have all these random characters popping into the scene, like CP0, the Seraphim, Stussy, Kizaru, warships that are going to destroy the island and cause havoc.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. I would say overall a pretty good chapter. It's setup mode. We were just waiting for Kizaru to show up and be there. Like I said, I think next chapter is going to be the final chapter is set up. Then it's going to go crazy because I think we're going to have Kizaru coming in and pulling up. And once he gets settled, the last page may be fire, but it's a chapter, and then things kind of get really, really crazy.
Oh, yeah.
But nah,
next chapter, first of 2023.
Oh yeah, first chapter 2023 should be fantastic. Sai, I appreciate you joining me for One Piece chapter 1070.
Always,
guys.
Bro.
Sai's channel will be in the title, will be in the description as well.
Catch me at JD Legend on YouTube.
Exactly, that's exactly where you can find him. Drop a like, all that good stuff. Enjoy your happy holidays. I'm gonna say Christmas, but some people don't celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Enjoy it, and we'll definitely catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Peace.